What's going on, people? Derek is back, and I'm making another Line 6 Pod HD500 video and going through the different amplifiers. And today I'm working on the divided by 13 JRT 915. Yeah, crazy name, but cool sounding amplifier. The cool thing about the pod, as opposed to other multi-effects units, is if you look at the tone controls, those are the tone controls that are on the original amp. You have two drive controls, a tone, a cut, and a presence. And, of course, you got volume control and all that stuff as well. As far as the amp parameters that you see here on the bottom, the only thing I changed is I turned the hum all the way down. And on the cab parameters, I turned the thump all the way up. Other than that, it's completely stock outcomes from the factory, except for the EQ controls on the amplifier, which I tweaked to my liking. So let's hear how it sounds. As far as the guitar goes, I'm using a Line 6 Variax 300, and right now I'm on the Spank model, or the Strat model. And this is just giving a standard Strat and a standard Tele and a standard Les Paul sound. That way I can kind of give these amps some different sounds, and you can kind of hear about what it'd sound like with your guitar. If you like what you're hearing, you can download this patch. I'll put the link in the info box, and you can download all my patches on there that I've been for all the videos I've been making for this unit. So anyway, without further ado, let's mess with the divided by 13, also known as the divide by 915 amp model. Before I start playing, I think you should know that I'm running through the 2x12 PhD ported cabinet with the room all the way off, and I'm using an SM57 on axis, and yeah, let's hear how it sounds. I've got a little bit of reverb going, but that's it. Alright, so usually in this video I go through the different gain stages of the amp. This one actually has two drive knobs, so let's hear what they all do. So here's drive 1 at 50. Alright, drive 1, now I'm turning it all the way off. Let's hear drive 2 at 50. Alright, turning drive 2 all the way down. Let's hear drive 1 at 70. Now let's hear drive 2 at 70, and I'll mix these later on so you can hear what it sounds like when you combine the two. So here's drive 2 at 70. Alright, and let's hear drive 1 on 100. let's hear drive 2 on 100. Alright, we'll set both drive controls at 50. Let's hear what we got now. If I can get it to 50. I'm going to decrease drive 2 to about 30. And I might increase drive 1 by up to 60. Alright, now what we do is drop them both down by 10%, so 50 on drive 1 and 20 on drive 2. What is that riff? I don't know. There we go. All right, so hearing that, let's listen to the different guitar models. So starting with the Strat, going through all the pick positions and moving on to some other sounds. Might bring that drive down just a hair, maybe about 40. There you go. Now let's listen to the Tilly. Now the Les Paul. Alright, going back to the Strat model. I gotta be real honest, I'm not a huge fan of Drive 2 on this amp. It's cool that they have that in there and make it correct to the original amp, but even on the original amp, I'm sure I wouldn't like the Drive 2. So I want to bring it down, and let's hear what we got now. So now we can bring up Drive 1 up to about, let's try about 60. Might even bring it up more than that. Maybe let's try 70. Let's try about 75. Nah, just leave it at 70. I like it there. Alright, so let's mess with some of these amp parameters. The master volume control works just like a master volume on an amp. So if when you set on 50, the volume goes down, as does some of the overdrive. So let's crank that one up to about 70. And up to 100. Might bring that drive down just a little bit more, maybe around 60. Something to point out that I haven't pointed out in the other videos, in the Pod HD500, the drive control doesn't necessarily just increase distortion, also changes some of the frequency responses. It's just like on a real tube amp. When you turn up the drive, you're not just increasing distortion, you're fattening up the tone, and sometimes you can make it a bit muddy. So I like it at 60. There's not really a big jump in gain from 60 to 70, but there's a huge change in tone. Just listen to the bass response of it at 60. It's a nice, tight, overdriven sound. Let's hear it at 70. Huge difference. So I like it at 60. And that's a very realistic feature. Any tube amp would be just like that. So, and let's mess with this sag control. The general rule of thumb with the sag control is towards the right, you're going to get more vintage sound, and more towards the left, you're going to get more modern sound. So let's hear it at the perfect in between at 50, if I can get it to go there. Let's hear a more modern sound, so turning the sag all the way down to 0. I like that. Let's hear it at 100%. Alright, I like it at 0. Just, it's a little cleaner sounding. And the infamous hum control doesn't do anything on this amp, so we're not going to mess with it. The bias control, let's mess with some riffs here, and let's hear what it sounds like. So here's the bias at 50. Here's the bias all the way off at 50. And let's hear it at 100. Let's hear it at about 70. All right, let's mess with this bias excursion here. Here it is at 50. Here it is at 0. And here it is at 100. And I want to hear it at 34. So I like it there. Let's mess with some of these cab parameters. The low cut really comes in handy if you got a really bassy guitar, real boomy sounding. So if you're playing extended range, drop tuned, or just an overall bassy guitar, this can really come in handy. Now, rule of thumb is generally that you would actually tweak the low cut, then EQ the amp around that to make it sound good. But I don't really have too much problem with the guitar being too bassy, so I don't mess with this control a lot, but you can definitely experiment with it. But let me just show you what it does. So here's the Les Paul in the neck position. So let's turn that low cut up just a little bit to kind of clean that sound up a little bit. So you can kind of mess with it and get the different sounds you want. The res level, going back to the Strat sound by the way, the resonance level. Let's just kind of hear what that does. Here it is at 50%. And here it is at 0%. And here it is at 100. It's about to get loud, people. Yeah, it just gets extremely loud at that point, so I'm not going to mess with that too much. Just going to put it back at 50. Alright, so let's mess with this thump control. I like it at 100%, but let's just hear what it sounds like other sounds. Here it is at 50%. And let's hear it at 0. And let's crank it back up to 100. Alright, so that is all the amp and cabinet parameters. I don't really mess with the decay that much. It doesn't really affect the sound from what I can hear. So let's move on to some pedals, like some distortion and overdrive pedals. Starting with the boost comp. I like the boost comp. Kind of gives a second channel type feel with the amp. So here's that sounds like. Here it is without. Let's see. So that's pretty cool. Let's mess some distortion pedals now. So here's the tube driver. And that sounds pretty nice. Now with the tube screamer. Might turn that tone down just a little bit. I like that tube screamer. Let's hear it, the classic distortion or the rat. And I want to turn the drive down, the output up, and the filter up. Like how it sounds. I might turn the drive down just a little bit. So, pretty nice sounding. Alright guys, so that's it for the Divided by 13 JRT 915. It's a great sounding amplifier, kind of a Vox style amp. And I think Pete Thorne actually uses, I know he uses a Divided by 13, I think he might use this amp. I don't remember exactly, but nonetheless, it's a great sounding amp model. I really enjoy it, and mess around with it, mess around with different overdrive pedals and different effects with it, and kind of get to sound the way you want it. The sky's the limit with this digital stuff. I swear by it. I love having a digital unit like this. You can control every single aspect of the tone, and it sounds great. So, which is always good. You want to sound good. So, So anyway, fellas, this has been the and fella-ettes, if there's any ladies watching. This has been the Divided by 13 JRT 915 amp model, and sounds great. You can download this patch and all my other patches using the link in the info box. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and God bless.